Welcome to Massive Late Fee. And now your hosts, Mark and Carol. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Massive Late Fee. My name is Mark. With me as always is my girlfriend Carol. How are you doing, Carol?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. It's been a good week here. It is August 31st, 1996.
It is.
Almost September.
How is that? Soon it'll be Halloween, like before we know it.
Halloween. Halloween. However that song goes. You know that song.
No.
About Halloween.
Nope.
Halloween.
Nope.
Halloween.
Sounds like you're speaking Arabic.
Halloween.
Allah.
Well, yalla. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Now you sound like an Australian saying yellow.
It's yellow, mate.
Anyways.
That's not a knife. That's a knife. That's a spoon. I see you've played knifey spoony before. Anyway. So good things happening here with us, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we moved in together. Domestic bliss.
Yeah, like I said yesterday, though, he sings all the time.
She whipped me into shape, though.
And he talks to himself.
I now pick up after myself.
That's true.
And I did a dish.
He even put the seat down, so, you know.
I always put the seat down. I am very conscientious. Now, I might get urine on the floor.
I can't believe you're trying to say that I shared too much in the last show.
I'm sorry, urine comes out of my urethra.
Ew.
It's a big shock to everyone, I'm sure.
Ew.
It happens. Everybody pees.
And on that note,
Except for the dehydrated.
we watched a movie this week.
I have news to talk about.
Yeah, apparently about your urethra. I'm just trying to steer the ship here.
You know, I had to have a catheter one time. Mm-hmm. It's a balloon.
Yeah.
That they need to shove into your urethra, which is your dick. And the balloon needs to be inflated. Well, they didn't inflate it the way I thought they were going to inflate it.
Ugh, so gross.
I can only assume that required the head nurse.
Wow.
Come on!
And I get him all day, every day, people.
That's right. It never ends. But you know what else never ends? Chris Rock's rule.
What is this?
It says comics humor is candid, but he never abuses his fans. How is this a revelation?
What?
Comics humor is candid, but he never abuses his fans.
Good.
You know, like all those comedians out there that are like, fuck you, fans.
Let me get out the whips and chains.
Oh, my God. Chris Rock. You're familiar with stand-up comedian Chris Rock?
Yes.
Hey, I talked about this. I can't. I'm not going to.
Wow.
When comedian Chris Rock hits the stage, don't be surprised by anything that comes out of his mouth. Fans who caught his new self-produced HBO special, Bring the Pain, know that even in front of a Washington, D.C. audience, Rock wasn't afraid to make jokes about the beloved mayor, Marion Barry, who was voted back into office even after his crack addiction sent him to jail for 6 months.
I would not vote for a dude with a crack addiction.
It's Marion Barry. Come on.
It's David Silver.
That's right. I don't have any hang-ups. There's nothing I won't talk about, says Rock, interviewed by telephone in Manhattan. However, there actually is something he won't do, which is a favorite among today's brassy comics. Brassy comics, okay? Humiliate those in the audience sitting close enough to the stage for the comedian to notice their hairstyle, weight, or any other distinguishing personal trait.
Interesting.
So I've heard of crowd work.
Uh-huh.
That's what they call it when they talk to people in the audience and everything like that. But I don't see a lot of comedians be like, "Oh, that haircut fucking sucks." jokes. I mean, something funnier than that. But
Right.
I don't know. Do you notice that a lot? We've been to some comedy shows and stuff like that. We've seen comedy shows. I don't. Sometimes
No.
if there's someone's heckling, then you might see that, or if somebody interrupts the flow of the show by like screaming out, sometimes they might say something. But usually, when there's only a few comedians I've ever noticed who actually actively go do crowd work so they can make jokes about somebody.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, you don't want to alienate your fans.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, good for Chris Rock, I guess. And good for Tiger Woods. Multiple Woods.
Who the hell is that?
So he is a golfer.
Why are we talking about him?
Well, okay, so he's a hot, young Cablinasian golfer.
What the hell does that mean?
No, he's
Cablination.
He's black, but he's half Thai, half African American, half Korean, half Filipino.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
He's enough for two people. No, he's a mixture of different things, but his skin is black, so everyone calls him black.
Okay.
Because that's how the world works.
But he's a golfer. Like,
Yeah.
Why do we care about golf?
Because he's a black golfer. There's not a lot of black golfers, and he is a very, very promising young golfer. He had his first pro round in Milwaukee, and he shot a 67, which is very good. That's 3 under par at
Nice.
most golf courses.
Good for you, Tiger Woods.
It says Tiger Woods, a walking billboard for Nike, or if you're in Australia, Nikes, turned in a workman-like 4 under, I guess 71 at this golf course, 4 under par 67 Thursday for his first round as a professional golfer in the Greater Milwaukee Open.
Yay.
He had an eagle and 3 birdies against 1 bogey and was 5 strokes behind the leader, Nolan Henke. So a lot of people in the sports world, they're talking about this dude. He had a very good in his qualifying school. He had a very, very good round. He's a hot young golfer, and if he can make some noise, I mean, he's very young too. Golfers typically they don't get. I can't remember how old he is, but I think it's like 20 or 21 or something like that. But golfers don't typically like get super good until they're in their 30s or 40s. So. When someone's like, he's a young like phenom thing. He's like he started golfing when he was like 4 or something like that. Like his dad.
How?
Because his dad like started teaching him how to golf and everything. I guess he had a knack for it and all this stuff. So
Did he get him tiny clubs? Because
Yes.
Okay.
He did.
Tiny little 4-year-old clubs.
But speaking of comedians, Norm Macdonald is going to be at Ann Arbor's Main Street on Saturday and Sunday, and I want to see him.
Yeah.
Norm Macdonald's one of my favorite comedians.
Let's go.
How can you not love that face?
It's quite the face.
But yeah, Norm Macdonald, actually. I assume a friend of the show. Because I think everyone's a friend of our show.
Everybody loves our tapes.
But speaking of love, Carol, did you love this movie that we watched? The Flan.
It was what? The Fan.
About a dessert. A custard.
Goodness. Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro. I almost said Robert Downey Jr.
What the fuck?
Robert De Niro plays a custard.
Robert De Niro plays a psychopath.
Yes, he does.
A knife salesman who loses his goddamn mind.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
And, Wesley Snipes?
No, that's his name.
Look at me. Remembering shit all over the place.
Okay, all right, because you remembered his name.
Yeah, that makes me proud.
I thought you were proud that you recognized one black actor from the other. Because that's the look you had on your face.
Fuck you. Wasn't he also in that one movie with the transvestites?
Yes, he was.
Hey.
And guess what? His manager in this movie was John Leguizamo, who was also in that movie.
Oh, cool.
To Wong Fu, thanks for everything, Julie Newmar.
I liked that movie so much.
It was a good movie.
Like, I've been feeling like I want to watch it again.
It's a good movie.
Anyways, Wesley Snipes
Wesled Snipes
is a baseball player,
yes,
and he has a lucky number, which is 11.
yeah.
And he gets traded from one team to another. And he loses.
I love you trying to talk about baseball. Or trying to talk about the baseball actions of this movie. Apparently, he won the World Series with the Atlanta Braves the year prior. So, you know it's a fantasy world already. And the Braves are really good, though. He got traded to the San Francisco Giants. And apparently, he's a San Francisco boy. He's from San Francisco. And Robert De Niro is an obsessive fan.
Yeah, so it's like he's coming home, basically.
Yeah.
So it's a very happy...
It's like the movie Coming Home.
Except he loses his number.
Well, he doesn't lose it, but there's a guy that already has his number, played by some dude named Benicio del Toro.
Yeah.
Which is, I think Benny the Bull.
Something. Was that really his name? Benny the Bull? That's weird.
No. I mean, that's Benicio del Toro is like Italian
I thought you were saying
or whatever for Benny the Bull.
I thought you were saying that was the character's name, and I was like, I don't think so. Okay, so apparently I did not know. This is news to me. I did not know that this happens in the world, but
I told her.
Apparently, like, athletes buy numbers from each other.
They will, yes, sometimes. And if somebody really loves their number or whatever, and they get drafted or they get traded to a team or they sign as a free agent like this guy did, and they want their number and somebody else has it, they'll be like, well, I'll give you some money. The highest I've ever heard is like $10,000. I think somebody paid like 10 or 20,000, something like that for a number.
And how much did this asshole want?
$500,000.
Yeah. So
quite a bit of money.
But he just signed a really big contract, $40 million.
Yeah, $40 million bucks.
So this would be 1/80th of that.
That's right.
I would have paid it. I mean, it was very important to him. It was really weighing on him.
Yeah. It looked like maybe there's a lot of backstory we don't get.
Yeah.
It looked like maybe his dad wore that number because there's a picture of him with his dad, and his dad looks like he's wearing number 11. I don't know if his dad was also a major leaguer. I don't know if it's like a Ken Griffey Jr. type thing. Because it's like kind of seems like they're doing sort of it. What's interesting about this movie to me is this is two movies, at least at the beginning, first half.
Yeah,
the first half, like the first act and most of the second act. Probably the first two acts of this movie are two different movies. Robert De Niro is in one movie, and Wesley Snipes is in another movie. Because they both have their things going on, and they're very separated from each other.
Yeah, except for when they're not.
Very good.
Shut up. I was saying...
You noticed that, huh?
There is...
When they were in the scenes together, they were in the scenes together.
There's some crossover.
There's a little bit of crossover. They talk a little bit. Obviously, things that happen to Wesley Snipes and things he does influence Robert De Niro's character in some ways, but they both really have their own things going on, where Robert De Niro is dealing with the fact that he can't sell these knives anymore, apparently, because he's not a good salesman anymore, or he just
never was,
or just doesn't give a fuck about these knives anymore, or whatever. Bulldog from from Frasier is his boss and very angry at him, and then he's got a son who he is estranged from his wife. He's divorced from his wife, and it doesn't seem like they have a great relationship.
Yeah, she's remarried.
He's very disappointing to his son. He kind of fucking abuses verbally and terrifies his son in many scenes.
Yes.
He doesn't know how to relate to him, and he's clearly sort of off his rocker.
Yeah.
So he's got all this kind of, and he's trying to meet with a client who keeps... not ducking him necessarily, but he just things keep coming up.
Yeah, he's blowing him off.
So you have all these things going on in his life, and he also loves baseball and is obsessed with the Giants and obsessed with his own ruined baseball career or whatever. Says he had a cup of coffee in the major leagues and all that stuff. And anyway, so he's got his own stuff going on. Wesley Snipes has his own shit going on, where he's dealing with, he has a son from a previous relationship or marriage.
Yeah, this is the only thing they really have in common, I guess.
He is trying to fit in this new team. His manager keeps telling him to do things that he doesn't necessarily like. He goes and sees a kid dying of cancer that shares the same name as his son.
And he's the same age.
Asks him to hit a home run for him, which he does. But then the kid dies.
Before. Or no, the kid slips into a coma before that and then dies.
Never knew it, yeah. And that would have to be hard. Like, I've heard about athletes visiting sick kids and stuff like that, and never really, this movie really kind of highlighted how awful it would be. Like, that's a big emotional toll to put on yourself.
Well, and he was trying so hard to, like, you know, be nice and friendly and whatever, and he takes off his cap and goes, look, we got the same haircut, because the kid was bald, and he's like, are you sick too?
Right.
It's like, oh, shit.
And then Ellen Barkin plays a female sports radio person, and she's all over him too, like trying to like fuck around with him, I guess, or whatever. She's like, you know, how's that divorce going? Whatever.
Yeah, that wasn't very nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's actively getting divorced.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, so he's got his own shit going on too. And then he gets injured, he hurts his ribs, and then he starts going through a slump. And so he's dealing mentally with that as well.
Which, you know, thinking about that, like I didn't think about that the whole movie, but that's probably why he was in a slump. Like I thought it was the number 11 thing. But playing injured, that's gotta...
I think it was a lot of it. He was playing partially injured. He didn't have his number. He wasn't comfortable because he was in a completely new city. He's getting a divorce. He's probably trying super hard because he wants to please the fans. They talked a lot about how he's such a perfectionist and all that stuff. I think he was putting a ton of pressure on himself. He was thinking about it way too much.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the things that the radio lady said to him is, do you think you're worth $40 million? Like, how hard and awful would it be to be trying to prove that you are?
Yeah. He's like, I don't like to put a price tag on a person, he says. But yeah, it's weird. Like he's in one movie, Robert De Niro's in another movie, and they briefly bump up to each other until De Niro brings himself into Wesley Snipes' world.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because De Niro ends up losing his job.
Yeah, as a knife salesman.
And this is because on opening day...
Oh my God, this whole... Yeah.
He takes his child to the opening day game, and he has an appointment, the only time this guy could see him, at 2:30, and he leaves his child at the fucking game.
Amongst thousands of people he doesn't know.
Right. And he's late because he was so into the game, and he misses the appointment. The guy has actually gone to the game himself.
Yeah.
Because he got some season tickets, or some opening day tickets, I mean.
Yeah, from the opening day tickets that were supposed to be his.
Yeah. From...
We find out later.
His rival.
Yeah. We never see on screen.
And then when he gets back to the stadium, his kid's gone. Gone. Yep. Like, somebody fucking took his kid.
Yeah, an old lady that was staring at him the entire time.
But luckily, you know, she just took him home.
Yeah, I don't know how. Did he tell her where he lived?
He must have.
They didn't really explain it. They're just having coffee in the living room.
It was really weird. Yeah, the lady who was staring at him the whole time is then sitting in his ex-wife's house drinking coffee. That made me wonder if it was like some kind of conspiracy. Was she like hired to watch him? Did she, you know, whatever. But he acts like a lunatic because he has now brought a pizza to the kid and just barges into the house, runs in his room, locks the door because he's going to have pizza with his son, who's in bed almost like he's sick because he's so upset because his dad left him.
Yeah. So she gets a restraining, the ex-wife, the mother, gets a restraining order against him.
And the whole movie, too, he's always like doing some shit with his knife. He's given his son, he think he's 9, a knife, like a pocket knife. Like a child should not have a pocket knife.
Not this sharp of a knife.
And he uses it to like cut the pizza. And like, you know, he's just using his knife for everything.
He kills a bug with his knife.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was creepy. He threw his knife at like a cockroach or something on the wall. And is that a hotel room or his apartment?
That's it looked like it was like a fucking rent by the week hotel kind of thing.
And the wall was so thin the knife just went right through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, I mean, the crux of this movie is they eventually, like I said, he brings himself into Wesley Snipes' world because somehow this dude keeps getting access to, I don't know, he somehow finds the number to the locker room and is able to talk to Wesley Snipes at some point. He knows where the team's staying when they're on away games, and he ends up going to the Benicio del Toro character, the other star on the team, and he stabs him in the leg while he's in the steam room and kills him. Because
of the number, because he wants him to give up his number.
Yep. And he's got a tattoo of the number 11 as well, the Benicio del Toro guy.
Right.
Which we see a close-up of because that comes in later.
Which makes a little bit of sense than why he wants to keep it.
Right. So, yeah, he kills him, and then Wesley Snipes starts playing awesome.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Well, and everyone acted like it was his fucking fault, too. Because he walks in, and they're all wearing the number 11 on their jerseys in honor, like on the sleeve, in honor of their killed teammate. And they're like, one of the guys goes, yeah, we all get to wear it now. Like it's his fault. Like, this is what he wanted.
Yeah, and the thing is that DeNiro's character believes that is the reason that he's playing better, whether it is or not, and expects a thank you, even though he doesn't know what he did.
He says it in the most Robert De Niro way, too, in the world. He's thank you would have been nice.
Right.
Just like, with that Robert De Niro face, like where it was like, a little bit. Like, that's so De Niro.
So, and his whole life is taken over by basically stalking Wesley Snipes because he has lost his job and he's lost access to his kid, so he really has nothing.
Correct.
So he finds out where he lives, which is on a beach, and is just on the beach when Wesley Snipes' kid starts to drown.
Yeah, because the dog swims out there and tries to, like, jump into his arms and, like, knocks him off his boogie board. It's weird.
It was a weird situation. I don't know why you would let a little boy swim in the ocean by himself.
That far, too. As soon as he did, in the theater, you were like, no way.
Yeah, I was having a little bit of anxiety and a little bit of anger.
So De Niro goes in and saves the kid's life.
Yeah.
And then Wesley Snipes is like, hey, come on and have a beer. Let's talk. Like, because he just saved his kid's life. He's very grateful.
Right.
And so they start talking and everything. He's like, oh, if there's anything you can ever do, I can ever do for you. And he gives him clothes. So, like, you pick some clothes. Which he picks the fucking uniform.
Yeah. It's very weird.
Yeah, the whole thing's weird. It's a really great scene because it's the first real interaction that they have together, and you can see it's the blending of these two separate lives, these two separate movies that are going on, and you can see as it goes on, and his nature, like his true nature, kind of chips through the surface more and more. Wesley Snipes is more and more backing off,
like scared.
He's like, oh, I'm just going to go home now,
Well, here's the thing, though, is he pisses him off. Mm-hmm. So then he starts talking in a scary way.
Oh, well, yeah, because he says why, he's like, hey, now that the dude's dead, playing better because you got your number back and whatever. And he's like, no, I just stopped caring. That's what it was. I think that's his character arc.
Yeah.
They both have different, like, completely distinct character arcs. Almost like I said, like it's a different movie. His character arc is he's learning. It would be interesting to see a movie just about Wesley without the crazy dude.
Yeah.
Just about Wesley Snipes. Like, both movies are interesting that are happening. But his character arc is that he presses himself too much, tries to be perfect too much, and he needed to learn to just let everything go and just let it go and let everything come to him. Because some people need to do that. And that worked out for him. And he's like, oh, no, come on.
Yeah, DeNiro wants to believe that it's all his response, his...
Because he killed him.
Yeah. And then he starts, like, yelling at him about, you just stop caring, like, got so mad. And that's when he's literally, like, backing away and like, okay, I'm going to go now.
Yeah. So he leaves, and DeNiro somehow still has access to his house, I guess. He kidnaps his kid, kidnaps Wesley Snipes' kid.
And steals his car.
And steals his Hummer.
Yeah. And, like, Wesley Snipes was so nice. Even when he was freaking out because this guy was being weird, he was still like, you okay? You got a vehicle? Like, trying to make sure he's going to get home safe.
Yeah.
And, oh, yeah, I'm good. And then he does that.
Right. Some psychos, I'm telling you. No politeness anymore. There's no honor anymore amongst psychopath stalkers.
So he takes the kid. He tells him they're going to go fishing. It's the middle of the night.
Right. Night fishing's the best.
And he takes him to his old friends.
His old catcher, Coop, who he's been talking about this whole movie. Oh, Coop, let's talk to Coop. We're going to go see Coop, my old catcher. He was a brilliant catcher. Well, guess what? We find out as he's beating Coop to death with a baseball bat. Because Coop helps Wesley Snipes' son escape. And as he's beating him to death with the baseball bat, he's like, it was Little League. Because, yeah, they weren't in the fucking minor leagues or they didn't go break into the majors or anything like that. They were 12.
Yeah.
He is a completely delusional psychopath.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Ugh.
And then from there, it gets pretty farcical. From there, it gets like, it's... I don't really love the third act of this movie, I have to tell you, because it gets so outlandish. It's a really tight, nice psychological thriller until then. Then he's in the stadium and no one can find him, but he can see everybody and where they're at. At some point, somehow he becomes an umpire. Like, you see him walking past the umpires, like, okay, I guess he killed one of the umpires or whatever, maybe, that we don't see, but it's like... How does no one recognize him? These umpire crews all work together and stuff. Right. There's a first base umpire, third base umpire, like, and behind the plate and all that stuff. They all work together all the time. They look at each other for signals and stuff like that. They didn't notice that he was a completely different person. I mean, it's like, it's fucking weird.
It is weird. And it doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense.
But all of a sudden, he becomes like Jason Voorhees. That's my point.
But I mean, even before they get there, it seems like the police should be doing more. I mean, they're at his house. Mm-hmm. They get the call. Like, they're playing into his demands, and I don't think it would work this way.
And there's, like, they can't look anywhere. They don't go to... We never see him, anyway, go to his ex-wife's house where his kid is. Like, I don't know. The whole thing's weird.
So he tells him that he wants him to hit a home run for him.
Yeah.
Because at one point when he asks, like, what do you want? He's like, I want that when they think of you, they think of me.
Yeah.
That's a pretty chilling statement.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, it's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, he got what he wanted. So that's what he wants. He's like, and you tell him it's for your friend Gil and blah, blah, blah. So he's trying to hit a home run because they haven't found him yet. And he's afraid he's going to kill his kid.
Right.
Can't even imagine trying to play a game.
Right.
Let alone trying to hit a home run. Then it's raining. And the game gets delayed.
Everything's going against him.
Then they're going to walk him. I mean, it was like all ridiculousness.
Finally, he does get an inside the park home run. But then Robert De Niro calls him out. Because somehow he's the fucking home plate umpire. Is this the Naked Gun? Like, I don't fucking understand how this happened. But, and like I said, it gets really farcical.
Yeah.
And then he's fucking knifing players all over the place on the field.
Yeah.
The police are pointing their guns at him, but they don't shoot him for the longest time. Eventually they do shoot and kill him. But it's like, They would have fucking... Wesley Snipes like, no, don't shoot. They would have fucking blown his head off.
Well, you understand why, though, because he knows where the kid is. They want to get the kid back.
But they would have shot him. And then they do shoot and kill him. And they do find the son. He's at the old Little League stadium.
Which was called the Sky or something?
A ballpark in the sky or something like that. Yeah, weird.
So, because that's what he says. He's like, oh, you must be in the ballpark in the sky, like acting like he's dead.
Right. And, yeah, so that's kind of how the movie ends. Now, I liked a lot of this movie. Tony Scott directed this, Ridley Scott's brother. And he's directed some other good movies as well. I like a lot of the directing choices. I like a lot of the cinematography choices in this. There's, especially when he's with Coop and when they're on the beach too. I like the lighting and the cinematography choices. There's like this blue tint behind him. Everything's kind of washed, like the colors are sort of washed out, but everything's blown up behind him. It looks almost otherworldly, like he is surrounded by fucking chaos. And the camera work is all very kind of like, it's Dutch angles and it's off kilter and everything when he's having those psycho moments and stuff like that. And I like a lot of those choices. Like I said, I liked a lot about the movie. I think the first and second act are really strong.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it really kind of falls apart a little in the third act, to me.
Yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying. Now, for somebody who doesn't know that much about baseball, like, it didn't seem as unbelievable, the umpire thing. But, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that they played along too much.
Yeah, and it gets a little, like I said, he turns into like a fucking, like a almost supernatural killer.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie, and that's the part that I was like, I don't know. But for the most part, especially first and second act, I think it's a really good, really tight thriller.
Yeah, I would recommend it still.
I would still recommend it too. I think it's worth going to see in the theater. There's not a lot better that's out right now, in my opinion. But.
For sure not.
But yeah, that is the episode for the week, Carol.
So go to our website at www.retrolatefee.com.
Stalk us there.
Write
not
us.
In real life, though.
Yeah, no, please do not be Robert DeNiro.
Yeah, that's not on, obviously.
You can write us at latefee1994@AOL.com and share our tapes with your friends.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.